Hello everyone. How's it going? This is Immigration Moumita, and I'm here to answer questions live and talk to you about immigration. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very happy to see all of my friends and followers and clients from all over the country. Today I have an important question that I want to cover with you, and the question is it still possible to save your case if your I-130 has already been denied? Is it still possible for you to move forward with your immigration journey if your I-130 has already been denied, or you are no longer with your U.S. citizen or green card holding spouse, or they simply will refuse to file for you? And the question to that answer is yes. The answer to that question is yes, it may still be possible for you to move forward in your immigration case because the government does allow you a way to move forward on your own, even if your I-130 has been previously denied, even if your spouse does not want to help you file, and even if they are nowhere to be found. This case is called the VAWA self-petition, and it is for persons who have gone through certain things in their marriage, and thus they may qualify to get a green card on their own. For example, if you're in a situation where your spouse filed the I-130 for you, but then they canceled that application, which means that you can no longer move forward because they are not giving their support, then you may be eligible to file a VAWA self-petition to get your green card status and a work permit and a travel document as well. Also, some situations may happen where your I-130 has been approved already, but your spouse is not giving you other documents, or they no longer want to give you financial support to file for yourself. And if this is happening to you, then you may still be able to move forward. The best way to find out what your options are is to actually give us a call at 212-248-7907. My team is standing by. We'd be happy to book you for an evaluation because I really believe that no one should have their immigration status held over their head. Your immigration status is already hard enough. It's already difficult to live life as an undocumented immigrant, and to have this additional burden upon you where you are now at the mercy and the whim of a spouse, a person that you married for love, a person who you thought you could live together with and have happily ever after, but only after marriage you find out that they're exploding on you all the time. They get mad at you for the smallest of reasons, right? If you're in the situation where you're getting, your husband or your wife gets mad at you and explodes for whatever reason, they kick you out when they're angry, or they give you the silent treatment. People don't talk about the silent treatment often enough, but the silent treatment is actually considered to be emotional abuse. What happens when you get the silent treatment from your husband or from your wife? Well, you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? And you're always nervous about upsetting them again and suffering the consequences of making them mad. When this happens in the immigration context, because when it is tied to the fact that your green card status may actually be tied to you keeping your husband or your wife happy, this may be constituting what is called extreme cruelty, and thus we may be able to help you get your green card. Best way for you to find out how you can move forward is to give us a call, 212-248-7907. Now, I want to share with you that just today we got news of 2 more VAWA approvals, which is bringing our VAWA approvals this week to 4. And we've had more this month already, and we have more coming up. And these cases are a little bit special because the 4 that we've gotten approved this week actually are for cases where my clients already had the green card process pending. They already had the I-485 filed, and they had an interview scheduled with immigration where their spouse was refusing to show up. Or they're in the situation where they can no longer live with their wife or with their husband because of safety concerns, and they could no longer continue doing the I-485 process with their spouse because of what they were going through. And we now have 4 approvals just this week. I want to let you know that your case is not needlessly over, and just because they won't show up to your interview, or if they sabotage your interview at the very last minute, they sabotage your process by not giving you documents, it is not the end, okay? Do give us a call, 212-248-7907. All right, so let's see what questions I have today. Hola, buenas noches a todo. Okay. Let's see. Amanda's saying, I'm going through the same position. I'm lucky that I found you. You're so good. God bless you. Thank you so much, Amanda. I'm really, really happy to hear this. I'm married with a Puerto Rican, so I want to know how much I need to pay to start the process of my papers. I came by the border with a child from Ella Suna Shorty. So here's the thing. If you came through the border with no papers, if you did not go through inspection, even if you're married to a U.S. citizen, we need to see what you're eligible for because your process is going to be a little bit different. But LA, if you're going through problems, if you're having some issues in your marriage where things don't feel right, I want you to give us a call because we would be happy to look into seeing if we can do a process for you, which is the VAWA self-petition, which would not require you to leave the United States. But let's just say you're watching me right now, you're listening, and you say, Moumita, that's not my case, everything's okay. Well, that's okay because we may still be able to help you get your green card by doing a waiver, which would actually allow you to leave the US and come back. But if you're very nervous about doing that, but you also think that, no, this VAWA does not sound good for me, I'd be happy to look at a couple of other cases that also don't require you to leave the US. So do give us a call, 212-248-7907. My goal is always to keep families together. So if you don't need to leave the US, I don't want to send you out, but we're going to do our best to do what is best for you, okay? Samantha, nice to see you. Feliciano, hola, buena noche. I came on a B1, I converted to F1. Can I go back to reinstate the B1? Is it still valid? From Nabil. Nabil, this is a question that is much more detailed. It's not an issue that I normally deal with, but hopefully you can find some help regarding this question. After doing biometrics and getting an EAD, how long does USCIS take to send a interview notice for a marriage-based petition from XXIV? So once you've done your biometrics and you get your EAD, it really depends on where in the country you live. How long you end up waiting for an interview will always depend on the location of the country because it depends upon your field office. Some field offices are busier than others, okay? And some field offices are really, really quick. So it really depends on where you live. Okay. I went for citizenship and I got denied because I had an arrest within the past 5 years. Now I have my 5 years good moral character. Can I apply again? From Juri Sanchez. Juri, yes, you may be eligible, but it always requires another analysis because sometimes it's not just about good moral character. We also have to see what else happened in your case. So here's the thing. If you have been denied for your citizenship in the past, you may be eligible to reapply again, but your case requires an analysis to make sure that all of the eligibility requirements line up and are in place because we would hate for you to get denied again a second time. So do give us a call, 212-248-7907. Also, it really, really depends on what kind of arrest you had, jury, and what the conviction was, because even if 5 years has passed, it may still be a problem and it requires an analysis. And if you have any criminal conviction, any arrest even if it resulted in a dismissal and no conviction, it always requires a good analysis before you can move forward, okay? So do give us a call, 212-248-7907. Gabby, thank you so much. She's saying congrats on all the VAWA approvals. Let's see. If your C9 work permit is coming up for expiration, but you still don't have a decision on your I-360, what do? You have to apply for renewal of your work permit, which, if you do it before it expires, you will now get a 2-year expiration. How long does it take for you to prepare the package to send to USCIS? From Lily. Lily, every case is different. I would say, on average, it'll take a few months. Sometimes we're able to do it faster, but sometimes it takes longer because we might have to do additional reviews and layers of checks on the case. But I do my best to review everything myself because it's very important to me. However, we are looking for ways to expedite the way and the time that we take to do our cases. I filed a VAWA 2 weeks ago. When should I expect the biometrics and prima facie? So if you filed for VAWA, I would say that it'll take about 3 months or so to get your prima facie, and your biometrics will also come around that time. I'm an immigrant. I'm a lesbian engaged to my U.S. citizen partner. Is the process the same? Also, she has not filed taxes for the past 3 years. Would that be an issue? Kimberly, that's a great question. And first of all, I want everyone to know this one thing. If you're in a same-sex marriage, if you're not in a traditional marriage, you know, it is okay. You are still able to do your process. Have no fear. And my office has represented dozens of same-sex couples in both the VAWA context and in the regular marriage context. And we fully support all of your rights. And your process will not be any different than anybody else's, because to immigration, to USCIS, a marriage is a marriage as long as it's legally made and binding in the state that it was performed. In the United States, fortunately, right now, same-sex marriage is recognized. But if you are in a same-sex marriage and your marriage occurred outside the U.S., then you just need to make sure that the marriage is considered legally valid and binding in the country where it was performed. If you are going through the regular marriage process, but your spouse has not filed taxes in the last 3 years, this could very well be a big problem, because we first have to see why your spouse did not apply did not file for their taxes. If they didn't file for their taxes because they didn't make any money, they didn't have enough income per IRS guidelines, then it may be okay. However, if your spouse was required to file taxes pursuant to the IRS guidelines and they did not, then they need to catch up on their back taxes. And if their income is not sufficient, they may need a joint sponsor to the case. However, guess what? If you're filing for VAWA, if you are suffering in your marriage, emotionally or physically, financially, whatever it is, you do not need any financial sponsorship in your VAWA case. You do not need to worry about public benefits if you've taken them either. So do give us a call, 212-248-7907. What's the difference between dismissal and termination in the court from Hash? So dismissal is usually when the Department of Homeland Security basically agrees to dismiss the prosecution charges against you. So they basically kind of drop the charges. Termination is when the court itself decides to terminate the case for some other reason. It's a little bit different. And even honestly, I see DHS attorneys and sometimes judges kind of get the two mixed up. For me, as long as the case gets dismissed or terminated, that's good. I don't argue too much with them. All right, everyone, that's all the time that I have for today. It's really good to see everybody. I'm sorry it's such a short live. Listen, if you're an immigrant going through problems, please know that you're not alone. Please know that you're not alone. Hope does lie at the end of the tunnel, and we want to give you that hope, and we want you to feel good. All right, so do give us a call, 212-248-7907. My team, our mission is really to uplift as many people as we can. Okay, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.